Welcome to Breast Intentions, the podcast where we take off the bra of expectations and dive into honest, empowering conversations. We're your hosts, Nadine and Cynthia, two Canadian girls who swapped snow boots for flip-flops in the Cayman Islands. This is your space to feel seen, supported, and a little less alone. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of champagne and get ready for your weekly handful of truth, wellness, and empowerment. Welcome back to Breast Intentions. Today's guest is Sonya Gill, a powerhouse entrepreneur and the founder of LNK, a global commerce platform helping brands scale internationally. With a background in media tech and trade, Sonya is known for building serious momentum, both in business and in life. In this episode, she opens up about scaling a company while navigating the deep transitions of midlife and perimenopause. Let's dive in.
So on today's episode, we have Sonya Gill, who is the founder of The LNK, all the way from Toronto. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and sharing your story. And this story is very much about reinvention and the reinventing of careers in midlife, but you also have a story of reinventing in many other decades of your life as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit and our listeners a little bit about how you started and where you're at currently today.
Absolutely. So a little bit of a background on myself. I was raised in Northwest Territories in the Yukon. My dad was an engineer in the mines, so my upbringing was very different than most. There wasn't a lot of people in our town. From there, we jumped around all over BC, and then I landed on a 10-acre blueberry farm, picking blueberries every summer with my father. My parents are very entrepreneurial, both my dad being an engineer, mom's a teacher. And then fast forward to university. After university at 22, actually before 22, I remember I have a journal that I actually started at 19. And in hindsight, I always wonder, like, how did I know to start a journal? Like, what prompted me to start a journal? Because journals weren't really cool back then. And I still have this in my journal, which is I feel this urge to leave my city and I don't know why. And I feel like I should be smarter and I should, I need to brush up on all the latest news and technology. And I wrote this verbatim in my journal. And I just had this urge to get out and move out of my city because I knew that if I was going to stay in that city, like yourself, Nadine, that I would probably just stay stagnant and I would probably end up married to someone who I didn't really like and with kids. And I would just it would lead that kind of white picket lifestyle, which there's nothing wrong with that. But just I have always been very intuitive with my soul. And I just knew that my soul didn't want that. And from 22 till about 27, I had to learn the art of the hustle. Like I had to learn how to speak to people, how to lead people, how to, how to make a sale, and how to make more money. And I think it's one of the best gifts that my parents could have ever given me was, cutting me off. So at 27, I think I actually met you around this time. Oh no, I think this was way before actually. 27, a really good friend of ours was crossing the street downtown Toronto. And another girlfriend of ours was on the phone with her. And she was crossing the street and all of a sudden she heard a scream. And she got hit by a truck as she was crossing and she was gone, instantly just gone. And that really took a toll on everyone, like all of us good friends that were surrounded with each other. And I think every single one of our lives changed for the better. I think we got a little bit more serious about life. And at that age, I really had to ask myself, okay, what do I want to do with my life? Because life is really, really, really short. And I was actually couch surfing at this point because I had just broken up with my boyfriend. Soraya had just passed away. And I was contemplating, like, maybe Toronto's not for me. Maybe I can't hack it here. Maybe it's time to move back to Vancouver. And the guy's house that I was couch surfing on, he said to me, he goes, listen, he's like, why are you going backwards in your life? you should only be going forward. Like, what is your dream? And at the time, my dream was, to become the next Brown Oprah. And because I had a background in like communications and psychology, and I really loved, I loved dissecting people, and just their psyche and like how they got to where they got to. And he said to me, and I'll never forget this, and I say this to my son, both my stepsons all the time, is like, you don't have a mortgage, you don't have a family, you don't have bills to pay, you don't have any of that right now. Why are you on my couch? Like, get out of here. Like, get on a bus, go to New York, go figure it out. At the same time, I sold my company. So what do you do when you're single and you just sold a company? You go travel. So I went traveling. Then I met Rick. And at the same time, I had started my second company, which was this South Asian, it was like a rental company called Take My Sari. Again, a little too far ahead of its time. But we got so many signups, but the tech was so bad. That was like my first taste of like how to build true tech, proper tech.
What exactly was that? It was like Rent the Runway?
It was Rent the Runway for South Asians. You nailed it.
Yeah.
And so after the tech kept failing, I sold it. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It wasn't in the millions. It was like just a few, thousand. And I sold it and I just got rid of it and I left. Then I started my third company, which I don't talk about, but it was my biggest and best failure. Like, my God, that taught me so much about venture capital, how to raise money, what VC looks like, what startup world looks like when you're actually raising money. And that was called Doyen Capital. And that was one of the first venture capital firms for only female entrepreneurs. And then COVID hit. And as soon as COVID hit, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So then I went back to the drawing board and we launched the LNK during COVID. But the reason we launched is because we had so many signups from Take My Sari that I was like, we have to do something with these signups. And we already had made a name for ourselves in India. But I was like, this can't be just a problem within India. Like, it's got to be a bigger problem. So we started researching, Africa, Latin America, just like all of the emerging markets. And now 3 years later, we're in the middle of, it's a very interesting place right now in the economy. So we're in the middle of some pretty exciting stuff, which will forge the path forward right now.
Right. And now in the middle of all of that, you're going through perimenopause.
Oh my God. Can we talk about weight gain?
Stress and trying to fit an exercise within there, like being a high performer.
I think, and Nadine, you were my first coach, and you actually taught me about eating and nutrition. And you taught me about not, like, I didn't have to go to the gym 7 days a week, and I didn't have to do all this cardio. And you really helped me with that. And I'll always carry that with me. But one thing they don't tell you in entrepreneurship as a woman is that is not sustainable. Like, you can work really hard and it's game 7 every single week and you're pushing the limits and you're disciplined and you're motivated and you're like, I got to get this company to $1 billion valuation. Or you're like, I'm going to be fit as shit and I'm going to keep going to the gym and I'm going to eat really well and I'm going to meal prep, I'm going to cook, I'm going to do all the things. And I'm married on top of that. So I have a family to also, be a mom to and be a wife with. So you take all of those things into the equation, it heightens all the symptoms in your mid-40s as perimenopause enters at this age. It heightens everything. And the weight gain is, I've never experienced anything like this. I've never had a belly. I've never had visceral fat. Even my husband woke up the other day. He's like, okay, we got to get serious. Like, he's feeling it. I'm feeling, he's like, we got to get serious. I'm like, I know we have to get serious. I'm like, and literally went on my phone and I'm like, Googling Manjaro. I'm like, Manjaro, where, like, how is Manjaro going to help me right now? Like, this is where I'm at. I'm on HRT. I've run myself into the ground. I'm heavy. I'm not happy with myself, but everything else is going fabulous in my life.
Right.
And it's this balancing act I'm just constantly playing at 43, 44, where like, and I question this all the time, is like, if I feel this way now, how am I going to feel in the next decade of my life?
Right.
And so how do you get under control? It's like either I hire a personal chef or like something's got to give at this point. And I've tried everything from meal prepping on Sundays, because as an entrepreneur, you're considered to be like a high achieving, high performance athlete. So you're like, okay, I'll meal prep on Sundays, I'll meal prep on Wednesdays. By the time Wednesday comes, you're like, I'm not meal prepping. Like, I have no time. You're getting up at 5 a.m. Your day doesn't end until 11:30. And in between, you're grabbing and growing. You think you're getting, let me rephrase this. You're eating healthy, but you're not eating enough, which is it mind boggles me to this day. And especially at this age, you're not eating enough, but you're eating healthy and you're still gaining weight. Explain that to me.
Do you think that, and maybe this isn't anything you can answer, and I don't really know if anyone has the right answer, but do you think that you can find a balance? Do you think that anyone who is a high achiever, founder of multiple businesses, and also trying to navigate this phase of life, like, do you actually think that there is a balance there, like that you can find a balance? Or do you feel like you just have to prioritize one over the other? Or
There are a lot of high achieving entrepreneurs in my life, and a lot of them don't believe in balance.
Mhm. I've heard that.
Because you're in it to
Yeah.
you're in it to win.
Mhm.
I like to believe it can be balanced, but then you are just going for bronze. You're not going for gold. And for me,
From a business.
it could be from a business standpoint.
Right.
So I believe balance can only be achieved when you've gotten your business to a point that it is self-sustaining and it's operating smoother than it was in the first few years of you getting it off the ground. The first few years you're getting that thing off the ground, it's a go for gold. It's a go for gold. But if you want to incorporate balance, you're going for bronze.
So then I think it is almost safe to say that it's probably one of the hardest times to reinvent yourself and launch a business, but also probably one of the most rewarding when you are in midlife, as opposed to when you're in your 20s or when you're in your 30s.
You got it.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, there's just that added component to it. Has your definition of ambition or success shifted as you've entered this midlife chapter?
It has shifted in the sense that I give less of a shit.
That came up. Yeah, that came up in one of our
Yeah,
other.
sorry, I have a little bit of a potty mouth. I should watch my language. The shift happened, it just recently actually started happening after 42. And the shift became more about what does Sonya need instead of what does everyone else need. And it went from how do I cater to you and how do I cater to how you're feeling, whether it was my team, whether it was my family, whoever it was, to, you know what, I come first right now. My mental health comes first right now, and I can't perform unless I'm at my best. That has changed, I've noticed, and I've heard that in your 50s and 60s it just gets better and better. And I don't know if this is the shedding of the hormones, where like we as women, we just become stronger because of the hormonal changes that are happening. So I've definitely noticed that change. The ambition for me has, and I think you guys can relate to this, is like, I don't know if it's because I keep raising the bar, but I don't even know that it's raised. I don't even think it's so philosophical as like you're raising the bar. I think it's when you're listening intuitively to the sound of your soul and the ancestral mind of like, hey, where do they want me to go in this life? Like, what did they leave on the table for me to be here today? Where do they want me to go? Right. And actually listening to that voice at the end of the day, I want to leave it all on the floor. Like, I don't want to come back here again and have to do this all again and learn and have to redo the karmic lessons and all of that. So every day or every week, I shouldn't say every day because every day is not the same, but every week when I wake up, I always say, my girlfriend always says this, it's like every week is game 7. Like, you got to bring it to the table. And however that ambition looks, it doesn't mean just business. It could mean like how you show up for your friends, how you show up for your family. Like, how are you showing up week in and week out?
Okay. Is there a big level of guilt there when it comes to feeling like you're prioritizing one side and then there's guilt on the other?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So I do know, with kind of stalking you on Instagram, that you did end up recently with a bit of a medical emergency. Was that burnout?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It was. Have you guys ever heard that saying is, when you don't listen to the whisperings of the universe, then it just chucks a brick at your feet?
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. And I knew, I could feel it was leading up to that. And I was pushing myself so hard. Like, even Rick was like, what are you doing? Like, you've got to take a break, take a vacation. Like, you got to stop. You got to breathe. Like, your team is fine without you. And we went on vacation at the beginning of January, completely checked out, and I never have ever not taken my computer with me. So I was completely removed. And when I got back, I went right into it. So it's like I didn't even take a beat. I just, like, Monday came and I went right into it. And Tuesday came and I started feeling this pain on the right side of my abdomen, the lower right side. And so obviously you start Googling, what is this pain? What organs live there? Like, is this kidney failure? Like, what is this? And, but the pain it was sharp. Every time I would move, it was very sharp. So I was like, I'll take Tylenol, Advil, I'll go to sleep. I'll probably be over in the morning. And the middle of the night, I woke up to go to the bathroom and I couldn't get out of bed. Like, I actually physically couldn't move. And my husband, he cares so much. I just, bless his soul, he cares so much. I was so afraid to wake him up because I just knew that he lost his older brother to cancer. And I know that it's so triggering for him when he sees me go through my stuff because it's bringing up a lot of memories for him. So I'm lying there and I'm like, do I wake him up? Do I not wake him up? Do I call 911? Like, what do I do? Or do I just lie here until the pain subsides and it goes away? So I nudged him. I'm like, okay, Brick, please don't freak out, but I can't get up out of bed and I've got to go to the bathroom. This pain is really bad. So he lifts me up and he's like, we're going to the hospital right now. We get to the hospital, the pain's getting worse, and I can't walk now, and I'm actually limping. So we go into a merge, and I'm there for a while and did the CAT scan, did the MRI, did everything. And it came back and they're like, we have never seen this before. It's something called omentum infarction. And omentum infarction is when your blood vessels restrict when you're stressed.
Oh.
So it cuts off, you might have to Google this. I might get it wrong, but I think it cuts off oxygen supply or like the blood supply to the organs. It's nothing, like, it's, for me, it's very, very, very mild, but with more and more stress added to that, it could lead to a stroke. And so I did that. And then I don't know what happened. Then the next day I'm such an idiot because I'm like, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I business? I was just in the hospital. Like, why am I on this team call? And so I'm sitting there on my team call. I shit you not. I just start crying. And I uncontrollably crying. I'm not even about to get my period. So I don't even know. And I'm not even a crier. And I'm like, why am I bawling my eyes? And I guess it hit me so hard. And it, like, after the team meeting, my co-founder came and he's like, listen, he's like, you've got to give everything to me, like, hand everything over, and you've got to, like, just check out for a little bit. But it was scary. It was really scary. And even to this day, my sisters, like, they just worry about my mental health and, like, how much I'm pushing myself at this age. which to me, I'm like, it's okay. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. But yeah, it was scary.
Okay. So then with going through that,
I did learn to delegate a lot more.
Mhm.
So delegation became very important for me.
and I think as a founder or as an entrepreneur, and I get this as well,
Mhm.
is sometimes the delegating, and I don't know if you agree, but the delegating can be really hard because it's easier to just do it yourself, because then it's going to take a while to explain to someone. And I envy the people who are like big delegators and are great at it. And
Master delegate.
yeah. So it taught you that as well, which I'm assuming you have done that before, though.
So I got an assistant actually. So I got an assistant, and the minute I got the assistant, it cleared up so much off my plate. And even though it cost me a little bit more to get that assistant, and I was like, because as a founder, it's down to the penny. You're counting everything. The second I got the assistant, I'm telling you, like so much of my life paid up, and I just had so much more room to think. And I didn't actually really understand why people needed assistance, because like you, like I could just do this myself. But my God, that assistant cleared everything up. One thing, caveat here is men do this really well. And men are very black and white, very black and white. And when they're working on something, they're just working on that one thing. We as women, we're such amazing multitaskers. Amazing. Because we're the only ones who can go like this without running out of fuel. But why do we do this to ourselves?
Yeah.
We don't have to. But if you take a look at a man, like a entrepreneurial man or like a go-getter, whatever, he's just going one direction, and he doesn't care about any of this noise over here. But we're like left or right getting pulled all over the place. And then this direction doesn't become like this. It becomes like
It's exciting. Yes. Caring about everyone else. Yeah. Making sure everyone else is okay.
You got it.
Right. Okay. So there was, what would you call that? Silver lining?
We're 100% would.
Yeah. Blessing in disguise. Right. Okay.
So after that was obviously a huge learning experience for you. How do you now stay grounded or recharge? And are there any wellness rituals or routines that are non-negotiable for you?
So every morning, I wake up, and without checking my phone, even without going to the bathroom, I put my hand on my heart, and I start off with a gratitude prayer. So I start there, and then I go into my visualizations. But I hang there for about 10 minutes first. And that's really helped me kick off my day.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Not checking my phone first thing in the morning has really helped me ground myself in the morning. Like everyone knows, do not contact me before 10 a.m.
Good for you.
That's my time. Yeah, because if something's on fire, they'll figure it out. They'll figure out a way to get a hold of me. I think another thing that has helped me, I don't know if this is like considered a ritual, but drinking my 3 liters of water a day. Without that, I feel very foggy, and I've noticed this, like I feel very foggy, and I feel very exhausted. And my 3 liters of water is a non-negotiable. Like I have to do that every single day. And then before I go to sleep, I started taking ashwagandha recently, and I've found that with my HRT, which is progesterone, before I go to sleep, has helped me a lot to just like check out. I don't know what is in ashwagandha, Nadine. I would love to learn about this.
It's an ancient Indian herb.
Yeah, it's adaptogen, right? I don't know what it just everything off. I can't, even if I tried to think of something, I couldn't even think of anything. So I take that before I go to bed religiously, and I have a full routine. And that has helped me a lot.
Nighttime routines in midlife are like key.
Oh God. Yes. Oh my God, they're everything. And I've also noticed that as soon as after I wake up, within 30 to 45 minutes, that first shot of like apple cider vinegar, which I'm not religious with. However, I follow that up with a protein shake. And I found that that's also helped me.
Are there any tools or practices that have helped you navigate the cognitive, emotional, or physical changes of perimenopause while still showing up for your business?
So HRT, of course, has helped a lot. So progesterone, testosterone, and I forgot the other one he asked me on, DHEA.
Okay.
Yeah, so those three have helped me a lot. So I go to a private health clinic here in Canada because
Canada.
they just, it's Canada. Let's just call it that. And we get our blood work done every 6 months. And every 6 months, they'll tell us, like, your vitamin D's low or your iron's off or they're very, very meticulous about it. It's an anti-aging clinic. But I found that all of their suggestions, such as the ashwagandha and, the different vitamins that they also suggest, has helped a lot. So that, and just really staying on my Sunday meal prep. I think even if I can't get around to it on a Wednesday or midweek, that Sunday meal prep has helped me a lot.
Let me ask you another question about the HRT, because I think that this is a very common struggle for a lot of people is, do I do it? Do I not do it? And then you get all of the conflicting information. Did you struggle for a long time before you went on the HRT? Like struggle maybe more mentally around like, should I do this? But then also struggle physically and emotionally. And then when you started the HRT, did you ever get to a spot where you're like, oh, I wish I would have done this sooner?
Oh my God.
Really?
And August was my birthday. And September, I have never experienced, I don't consider myself an anxious person. I don't have anxiety. I have never felt those feelings in my life. Like they were scary to the point that I was calling Rick and I'm like, I don't know what's happening to me right now, but I feel like I'm in a very dark hole and I'm desperately trying to get out of this hole. Like, what is going on? When I say those feelings were really bad, like it was to the point where I couldn't get out of my thoughts. Like I couldn't get out of this hole.
Yeah.
It was bad. And so Rick, being Rick, he's like, we're taking you to Deerfields, which this is not an ad. We're taking you to Deerfields, and I went to Deerfields, and it wasn't even a question. She's like, listen, she's like, your testosterone's in the tank. She's like, we need to put you on progesterone. She's like, we're going to make you feel better. And then DHEA. And I was like, I don't care. Just fix this. Give it to me. And so they gave it to me. And the second I started taking it, like literally the next few days, it was like this veil just like lifted off of me. It was insane how amazing that I felt. I will say though, because I have talked to my GP about this, and I've also talked to the clinic about this, is like I've noticed weight gain with the HRT. And they say that no, there's like absolutely no way that there's weight gain. It's not associated, like they just don't correlate. But my GP has said that yes, like you're on hormones, it's going to correlate, like affects you differently. There will be weight gain. So one thing I did notice was weight gain. Rick notices as well. But would I rather figure out ways to lose weight without the HRT? I don't want to do that. I want to stay on my HRT and I want to lose weight at the same time.
Right. And our professor in the menopause program that I was in, one of the things that she did say is when you are going through menopause, you do have to work that extra bit harder to get that to that weight off if you are struggling from a weight gain perspective. And it can be really hard for people, but I think when you can pull yourself out of the trenches mentally, it can also, like, can you imagine trying to, and I've seen it many, many times, where you are so down in the dumps mentally, and then you also have weight that you're trying to get off. It is very, very hard.
Yep. Yeah. I'm there right now. I'm struggling to get myself out of this.
But can you imagine without the HRT present?
Oh my God. No.
Like you, I believe, like many women, especially founders, once you start gaining that momentum, you don't want to give it up. And which can ultimately lead to burnout, as we know. What would you say to a woman in her 40s who feels like she might be getting to the burnout, but doesn't want to lose the momentum?
Get an assistant.
Get an assistant. Oh my gosh. Please, guys, actually, the assistant forced herself on me, and she's like, let me just do this for a week and I will show you how amazing it is. I'm like, okay, fine. And that week I was like, I get it now. I understand why people get assistants. Entrepreneurship is I've said this before, a friend has said this, entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey. There's a coach, he doesn't coach anymore, but he's coached he's coached Oprah Winfrey and some really, really, really well-known athletes. And his name is Steve Hardison. He has a great book out as well. But why is entrepreneurship a spiritual journey? Is because if you don't listen to your soul and you're not listening to the day-to-day, then why does burnout happen? Burnout happens because you're not listening. You're just and you're going because of the ego. You're not structuring to how the day-to-day should unfold. And often why we push ourselves so hard is because there's pressure in whatever that looks like, whether it's your team, whether it's investors. For me, it was investors. It's the outside world of like, oh my God, what are they going to think of me? That's ego.
Yeah.
What you think is going to happen is going to happen, and what you feel is going to happen is going to happen, and what you bring into your life, what you're attracting into your life, that's all you. So I think for the question is like, burnout's going to happen if you don't listen to yourself.
And is that also dropping the ego a bit?
Yeah, it's, what's meant to be is meant to be. What's going to happen is going to happen, and everything comes in due time. Like this was a few years ago. I got put through the ringer and back, and I have this saying is like, if you want to believe in God, become an entrepreneur. And I've never prayed to God more than that time in my life. And I'm like, just, why are you doing this to me? Like, what is the reason for this? And it just felt like it was a high and a low and a high and a low, like just kept ringing me through. And another saying is like, your path is tougher because your calling is higher. And it's just preparing you, and it's just making you stronger, because all those things you want, you can't get there unless you go through the trials and tribulations. Like, can you actually get through this? And I remember just being like, you know what? F this. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm over this. And this is the same kind of
founders too. Trainers too.
I'm just going to say like, fuck this. I'm done. And I went for a walk with this investor, and I was so disgusted with the investors at this point, because it's a political game. They also play the game. Founders are trying to play the game. Like, there's no honesty in these exchanges. It's all political game. And I was so disgusted with this industry, and I was so turned off, and I canceled the walk actually. And I'm like, I'm not going on this walk. And he emails back and he says, okay, well, would you like to reschedule to tomorrow? And I'm like literally looking at the universe like this, like, why are you doing this to me? So I always take things as signs. Like, if there's a sign, like, I'm like, okay, like, go with your guy here. So I took the sign, and I'm like, all right, I'll reschedule. I'll go for the walk. So I reschedule the walk to the next day. I get there, and I'm like, listen, I'm like, I just want you to know that I don't think I'm going to raise anymore. And we just went for a walk, and I just like really made it about him, and I wanted to learn about his story and how he came up and yada, yada. And he's like, okay, well, tell me more about your business anyways. He's like, whether you're raising or not, like, tell me more about it. So I start telling him about it. And I get to a point where I look over at him, and he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, why are you not raising? He's like, I don't get this. He's like, this sounds like a phenomenal idea. And I'm like, I'm just wiped. I'm like, I don't understand what the fuck I'm doing wrong. Like, why can't I raise? And he's like, I will invest in you. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, I'll give you the money. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what do you mean you're going to give? And he's like, yeah, he's like, demo it to me. Show me what it is. He's like, I think you're a brilliant founder. And he's like, I think you're very strong. He's like, you have what it takes. He's like, show me the demo. And literally a week later, I'm showing him the demo and they wrote a check.
Wow.
And why I tell this story is because like, you have to just let it go. Like, don't even try to figure out how it's going to happen. And in that moment, I literally let it go. I was like, F this, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I just truly let it go and I did not care about the outcome. And I was wholeheartedly myself.
You know, when you're chasing something, it's not for you. When
It
you let
is.
go, what is meant for you then will come. Yeah. If there is one message that you want other female founders to take away from your story, especially those in midlife, what would it be?
Right.
I was thinking about this. Intuition is something everyone has. Everybody has intuition. It's how you tap into it. So we all have those voices. We all have the dreams. We all have the curiosity of what is life. And I say this to my team all the time, especially the females, is we as women, we're born intuitive. Like we have the ability to give birth. Like we are born intuitive. Like we have that mother nature within us, like that helps us, raise children. No one can do that except for females. So if as females, we learn to listen to that voice and we really, really, really fine tune it, you can become borderline psychic, like borderline, like to the point where you just know the next move. You know what's coming. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. You know what you stand for. You know the people not to hang out with. You know who the energy drainers are and the energy, givers. So I always say is like, listen to that voice. You have the intuition and to listen to go try to pay attention to it. And it can be something simple like when I'm heading out the door in the morning and I'm in a rush and I see my bags that I usually use my groceries for. And somewhere there's a quick thought like, you should take those with you. And the more I've sort of focused on that thought, whatever it is, whether it's something small like my grocery bags or whether it's big, like, hey, you should talk to that person. It's always like I've started to recognize the voice more easily and follow it, even though like sometimes I don't know why. Like it's like, oh, bring your phone charger with you today. I'm like, okay. And I do. Sometimes I need it, sometimes I don't, or sometimes I go to the grocery store and I don't have my bags. And I'm like, oh, remember this morning you told yourself to bring your bags. But it is the more you notice that you do that, the more quickly you can catch your intuition kind of speaking to you. And it could be for big things or small things, but I've definitely noticed it more, that I'm able to identify it more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And trusting myself that I'm getting a message or giving myself a message for some reason, and trusting that is something and following it.
Yeah. Yeah. There was, not to get all spiritual guide here, but one of my other entrepreneurial friends who's very successful, their company does probably over 100 million in ARR. And she shows up one day with these deck of tarot cards. And I would never think of her as a person that would bring tarot cards to a party. And so she brings them and she's like, these are for you. And I'm like, what are these for? How do you even use? I'm going to get into like tarot reading now. Like, what is this? So she sits down, we do this exercise. They're called like angel cards. And I swear to God, to this day, I still use them because we were so flabbergasted. We're like, how the hell does this thing know what we're going through right now? It was just so insane. But why I tell you this story is because whether the card was right or whether it's not right, we're still at least leaning into something where we're trying to figure out the answer. And so whether we need to lean on in the form of a card or in the form of like, when you see 1111 or whatever it is, like you're tapping into something because you're seeking those answers, right? We all do it.
I do think that there's also another component as well for female founders or anyone aspiring to be an entrepreneur or that is an entrepreneur is mentorship as well. And really leaning on that, whether it's like leaning on mentorship from a personal and health and wellness side or from also a business side, because I do think that having that community of other females around you and mentorship, like whether it's males or females, but just more so focusing on other females as well, is just kind of creating that community. And I'm assuming you have one or have had many, and you also act as one as well, right?
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Yes. And the point of doing all this is not to be the smartest person in the room, right? You constantly have to be learning. And I think a really good mentor is someone who helps you see your blind spots, but does it in a safe space, where they offer their perspective, but they also offer their ear. So they're actually they're actively listening. And then when you are you yourself are a mentor like yourself, I think it's really important to open doors for people that they can't even see themselves, and can help them connect those dots that they didn't even know that was there, right? And I actually really, really, really love doing that. I enjoy doing that because it's something that there's like a light bulb that goes off in their head. They're like, I would have never known this or done this if you didn't tell me about this person or connected me with this person. And I think that's, that's a whole part of being here, is to help each other out.
Right. Yeah. Especially during midlife too, right? Because there are a lot of people that are struggling, just from the anxiety side, a confidence side. Confidence definitely goes down.
All right, but one last question for you. What is lighting you up right now, either professionally or personally, as you look ahead?
What's lighting me up? To be very honest with you, my family lights me up. The fact that the family is like growing and just seeing that legacy play out, that lights me up. And just seeing the smile on my parents' face, like this is what they worked so hard for, that really, really lights me up. And just seeing like my family was here this last week from Vancouver, and just seeing my stepsons, like they came outside, we were all sitting on the patio, and the elder, when he came outside, he was like, I'm sorry guys, I have way too much FOMO. Can I come sit here? And just seeing how like integrated he is, or both of them are, and how much they love this massive family, that lights me up. So definitely that. I'm turning 44 in August, on August 7th. I'm excited to see what this next chapter brings.
Right.
And I think at the end of this month, the final leg of the year is going to tell a completely different story, and I'm excited to see what that is going to look like.
Well, we're excited too. We're excited to hear about everything. How can people find you and contact you and learn a little bit more about the link as well?
Yeah, for sure. So if they're a brand anywhere in the world, they can go onto thelink.com, and it's spelt without an I. So it's LNK. So thelink.com, and they just go there and they sign up. Right now we have a promo. I think it's only $10 a month on the most basic plan to use. And if they just want to, contact me for any mentorship or advice, they can follow me on Instagram. I'm most active on Instagram. LinkedIn gets a little daunting, but both are fine.
Awesome. And your Instagram is Sonya Gill?
That's great. Thank you so much.
SONYA_Gill, GILL.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on today, taking a bit of time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course, you guys. If there's any way I can help pay it forward, please let me know. I'm more than happy to.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Of course. All right, guys.
Thanks for joining us on Pressed Intentions. We hope you felt seen, supported, and maybe had a few laughs along the way. Don't forget to share, subscribe, rate, and review us. Your support keeps the conversation alive. Follow us on social media for more insights, behind-the-scenes fun, and updates on future episodes. Got a topic you want us to dive into? We'd love to hear from you. Remember, life's too short for bad bras, toxic relationships, and kale you don't actually like.
So until next time, stay bold and keep your best intentions exactly where they belong, front and center. Now go crush midlife, or at least today's to-do list. Cheers!